welcome back to the show. We have more coming in. We do understand that there was a mining in Saka that ended on Friday, and it sparked a significant gathering for stakeholders in for Zambians and abroad who involved in mining sector activities. The recently concluded INSACA brought together government officials, investors, industry leaders, and local communities to discuss the future of mining in the country. This event was crucial for addressing key issues, fostering collaboration, and promoting sustainable practices in the mining industry, which plays a vital role to Zambia's economy. The theme for this year's Mining in Saka was Mining Beyond Copper, celebrating 100 years of mining in Zambia. Our guest this morning is Nkandu Belt, who's a mining expert, and she's joining us remotely right now to give us more details into the event itself and some of the key highlights that came out of it that are exciting for this industry. Good morning to you, Nkandu.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Now, I understand that you are an enthusiast and also a player in this with your own work, and you attending this INSACA is an opportunity for you to see what further progress is being made from policy end as far as mining in Zambia is concerned. What are some of the key highlights that you feel were important that came out of this endeavor?
Wonderful. I think the mining in Saka was a massive success, and considering that this was the first one for Zambia, I am really looking forward to what the future holds for us. And seeing people from all over the world coming and sitting at the table and having these conversations about the advancements of our minerals, not only from the technical side of things. So as a businesswoman and a woman in mining, this was a massive success. And I think you've seen, and the country has seen, that there's quite a fair bit of progress that is happening in the mining sector. It is going to take a little bit of a while because mining by nature, it's a long-term game. So it was a success.
When we look at any important things that you feel were cardinal for this gathering, what would you say is one that really stood out that will help the mining sector look very different getting to 2025?
Well, one of the key conversations we talked about is the bringing of the technology which our company does, which is Next Ore. And this is making sure that the ore that is being mined in Zambia is sorted out in the most efficient manner, using less water and also less power. So, and His Excellency, Dr. Hakainde Hichilema, he did mention that we need to look into technologies that will help us move things much faster. So the introduction of these technologies is actually one of the key highlights for me. And then also the collaboration with other countries on how we can have effective extraction of our ore from the ground, so which also leads to creating a lot of employment opportunities for our people. The government did talk about, mapping the country. As you know, Zambia is very much underexplored. So this exploration that has commenced to help us move much faster for us in the exploration industry. Because then at that stage, we'll be able to tell which ground is worth keeping and which ground is worth letting go. So it's a good start.
It does sound exciting, but what struck my attention is obviously the theme with this year's INSACA, and this is saying mining beyond copper. Now, what exactly are we aiming to achieve here? Sounds pretty self-explanatory. We've heard this before, diversification in various sectors, and in the mining sector, diversifying away from copper. But now that there was this gathering of industry experts as well as policymakers in this field, how feasible is this going to look like going forward?
Well, it is absolutely feasible. The Chinese are saying that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the next best time is now. this copper country, a producer in Africa. We have a lot of other resources as well that we need to start looking at. So one is, we've got lots of emeralds, we've got lots of amethyst, we're having gold, we've got cobalt. So I think it's important that we diversify and making sure that we get value from all those commodities. And that is the only way our country is going to develop. We need to diversify. We cannot be just having a one-sided outlook, or just focusing on one commodity. Other countries are doing the same. Look at Australia, where I'm based. There's iron ore, there's gold, and other commodities that they're marketing.
Now, one of the key from this gathering of both miners as well as players in that industry is the conversation of sustainable mining practices. What has come out of that, and is this something that we're seeing Zambia already practicing, or are we going to improve on it?
Well, I think we are slowly getting in there. Mining is a very old business. It's one of the oldest jobs in the world, and with access to some of the latest technologies and the usage of AI, we are able to make less impact on the environment, which again reduces water and power usage. So it's something that is still developing. Every mining practitioner wants to make the best out of what they have. They want to have more from less, so we don't know less of what we're getting. And we want to look after our environment. We want to look after our people. We need to make sure that our vendors here in Zambia, there's value for them, as well as shareholder value. So it has to make sense. If it doesn't make sense, we should not be doing it.
But what does sustainable mining look like itself? If you were to break it down for a Zambian context, what does that look like?
Well, sustainable mining, what it looks like in the Zambian context, is one, less disruption, and then making sure that human lives are adequately protected, because we are seeing a lot of damage to the environment, and then also damage to humans, human losses, human lives. So this is across the sector, across the globe. So it's not only a Zambia issue; it's a global issue.
I hear that, and I see you've put in the human aspect there and some of the benefits that they can get from mining. Mining has a positive front, which is economic positivity there with improving a country's GDP and the like, but there's also some aspects of it that have a negative connotation to them, which is some of the news that we've gotten recently of deaths as a result of mining, both legal mining and illegal mining, some injuries that have happened in some of these areas. How do you feel mines and individuals involved in mining can better improve their practices? That way, we do not see more of this negativity that are coming from an industry that could potentially improve a country's economy. We're also looking at how people living in those areas can benefit from these mining activities.
Wonderful. So I will answer that question through the lens of the human behavior. The negative and the positive side of mining industry. Everything has a negative and a positive, and it depends on what we decide to focus on. We will not have one without the other. But what we can do is we can reduce the impact that mining is going to have. We need to dig holes. We will need to process the ore so that people have electricity, people can have vehicles, people can brush their teeth. Because everything that we do involves mining. So the question is, how do we do this with the less disruption? Looking at what has been happening with the human losses, where people are dying, we should not be having those deaths. But unfortunately, they will happen. Deaths do continue to happen. Even in Australia, there are accidents on mine sites. But we need to make sure that the people are safe. We need to create frameworks where we are protecting the people, we are educating the people, and we're making sure that every site they go to is safe. People are dying because they are hungry. That's why they're putting their lives at risk. So if we can find ways to make sure that, we mine in the most economic, most safe, and people are fed, and these businesses are profitable, there will be less deaths on these licenses and illegal mining activities. Industry leader, we having these conversations on how do we make sure that our people are safe? How do we look after them? How do we make sure that, we educate them and tell them that this is not a good practice? Yeah, but poverty brings out the worst in people, unfortunately. And we can only eradicate poverty by creating employment.
Now, as we're wrapping up our conversation in Kandu, I would like to touch on the foresight here in this industry. Amidst the challenges that we're currently facing in the country, top of the list being the energy crisis and how this has disrupted a lot of industries. I would like to hear, and I know that from this Insaka you had some investors come in and also be a part of it, what does perception of investment in Zambia's mining sector look like at the moment amidst all these challenges that the country is facing?
The outlook, it looks quite positive. And the energy crisis due to climate change has impacted us significantly and has slowed us down quite significantly in the mining sector. But then also businesses across the country have been impacted. But through collaboration and with other countries, we will be looking at solar as well, and that is our low-hanging fruit at the moment. So we cannot power a mine, of course, using solar alone, but in order to continue with what we're doing. Investing in Zambia at the moment is looking very good. It is an investor-friendly country. Somebody referred to Zambia as the Switzerland of Africa. On a global scale, Zambia is looking quite promising, and I hope it continues to look promising. I think one of the best things we have is, our Zambian people, and then also the peace that we have and the stability.
That's Nkandu Belster. She's a mining expert and my guest this morning on this conversation around the mining Insaka that concluded last week and some of the positives that have come out of it. Thank you so much, Nkandu, for speaking with us. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you very much for having me, and have a wonderful day, and wishing everybody a happy independence coming up.
Thank you so much. That was our conversation. We have more on the Diamond Breakfast still to come. Speaking of independence, 60 years of being strong, honoring our heritage and embracing the future is a conversation we'll be having as Zambia celebrates 60 years of independence. Joining us will be Reverend Andrew Mushiwe and Prophetess Esther Jani in just a little bit. So stick around for that and more conversations.